Brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of Africa, lend me your ears and open your hearts, because what I am about to tell you is shaking the very foundations of the global order. In the land of Ethiopia, the uncolonized giant, the proud lion of Africa, a miracle has happened. A miracle not funded by the IMF. A miracle not engineered by the World Bank. A miracle not dictated by the European Union or USAID. This is not just a dam. This is a declaration of war against centuries of financial colonization. This is a thunderous roar of defiance against those who believed Africa must forever bow. Ethiopia, with its own hands, its own blood, its own sweat, has just built a $4 billion hydroelectric megadam. Not with handouts, not with neo-colonial loans dripping with chains, but with African determination, with African genius, with African resolve. This is not just about electricity. It is not just about water. This dam is freedom captured in concrete. It is independence carved into the flow of the Nile. It is Pan-African pride made visible to the entire world. In the West, the so-called donors, the global powers that for decades enslaved Africa through debt, through aid, through dependency, they are in shock. They are trembling. They are panicking. Because Ethiopia has done the impossible. They said Africa cannot rise without Western aid. Ethiopia rose. They said Africans cannot build without Western money. Ethiopia built. They said Africans cannot lead without Western orders. Ethiopia led. This dam, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, is more than steel and water. It is more than turbines and generators. It is a message to the entire African continent. We do not need them. We never needed them. We only needed to believe in ourselves. And brothers and sisters, listen closely. This is not Ethiopia's victory alone. This is Africa's victory. This is the Sahel's victory. This is Southern Africa's victory. This is the victory of every single child born on this soil, who has been told they are nothing unless the West says so. Today, the West is silenced. Today, Africa has spoken. So buckle up. Because in this video, we are going to journey through the fire and fury of how Ethiopia defied the IMF, the EU, and USAID to build the largest hydroelectric project in Africa. We will uncover the lies, the sabotage attempts, the economic blackmail, and the foreign pressure Ethiopia endured. And we will celebrate the sheer courage, the unbreakable will, and the revolutionary spirit of the Ethiopian people. By the end of this, you will know why this is not just Ethiopia's dam. It is Africa's renaissance. And why the entire world, from Washington to Brussels to Cairo, is terrified. For decades, Africa has been shackled by aid dependency. IMF loans that come with chains. World Bank projects that come with foreign ownership. USAID grants that come with political conditions. They say, here is money to build your roads, but only if you privatize your resources. They say, here is aid for health, but only if you sign away your sovereignty. They say, here is investment, but only if foreign companies take the lion's share. This has been Africa's curse. Aid that is not aid, but poison. Money that is not investment, but chains. And Ethiopia said, no, enough, never again. The Renaissance Dam was the ultimate test. Could an African nation break the dependency cycle? Could Africa fund its own destiny? Ethiopia answered with its people. Ordinary citizens donated salaries. Farmers gave from their harvests. Workers sacrificed a month's pay. The government refused IMF debt traps. They turned to their people, and their people rose. This was not foreign aid. This was African self-reliance. This was Pan-African economics in practice. The Nile is Africa's longest river. For centuries, it has been controlled by foreign treaties signed in colonial times. Treaties that gave Egypt and outsiders the right to control Africa's water, while Ethiopia, the source of most of that water, was left powerless. The West stood behind Egypt, threatening Ethiopia, warning of war, demanding submission. But Ethiopia did not bow. It said, our river, our right, our future. The Renaissance Dam is a revolutionary act of reclaiming Africa's resources. For too long, water flowed away to benefit others while Africa remained in darkness. With this dam, Ethiopia flipped the script. Africa will control its own destiny. This shook the West, because if Ethiopia can do this with water, what happens when Africa does it with oil, with gas, with uranium, with gold? Make no mistake, the West is panicking. Why? Because Ethiopia just destroyed their favorite myth, that Africa cannot rise without them. When Ethiopia rejected IMF loans, the world said, they will fail. When Ethiopia began construction, they said, they will collapse. When Ethiopia poured concrete into the Nile, they said, they will start wars. But Ethiopia proved them wrong. The dam is almost fully operational. Electricity is flowing. And Africa is watching. Suddenly, Western powers realize, if one African nation succeeds in breaking free, others will follow. And if others follow, the entire neo-colonial structure collapses. This is why the headlines in Washington and Brussels are filled with concern. This is why they whisper of instability. Because Ethiopia has shown the forbidden truth, Africa doesn't need them. Across the continent, the dam has become a symbol of hope. From Accra to Lagos, from Harare to Kinshasa, Africans are looking at Ethiopia and saying, if they can do it, so can we. This is the same spirit that burns in Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. The same spirit rising in Mali, Niger, and the EES alliance. The same fire pushing Ghana, South Africa, and Namibia to reclaim their resources. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is not just Ethiopian. It is Pan-African. It is a message to every African child. You are not weak. You are not dependent. You are the heir of a continent that can build wonders without permission from anyone. But of course, the Western media is at work. They paint Ethiopia as a threat. They portray Africa as unstable. They frame the dam as a danger rather than a dream. Why? Because they fear the example. They fear that the story of Ethiopia will inspire 1 billion Africans to rise. So they spread lies. They exaggerate tensions with Egypt. They claim the dam will cause famine. They say it will destabilize the region. But the truth is clear. This dam brings light, power, and progress to millions. The lies are failing. The truth is marching. Do you realize what this dam means? It produces 6,000 megawatts of electricity. That is enough to power Ethiopia and export to neighbors. This is the birth of Africa's energy revolution. Cheap, clean, African-owned electricity. And when Africa controls energy, Africa controls development. No more begging. No more blackouts. No more excuses. This is the path to African industrialization, by Africans, for Africans. Let us be clear. The Renaissance Dam is a direct slap in the face of the IMF and World Bank. For decades, these institutions told Africa, you cannot develop without us. Ethiopia replied, watch us. The message is loud and clear. Africa can rise without foreign loans. Africa can rise without debt. Africa can rise without neo-colonial institutions. This dam is a death sentence to the era of dependency. The spirit of Ethiopia is spreading. In West Africa, Traoré is nationalizing resources. In Southern Africa, Namibia and Botswana are reclaiming control. In Central Africa, Congo is awakening. The Renaissance Dam is not just a dam, it is a spark. And sparks start wildfires. This is Africa's wildfire of independence. And no IMF loan, no Western propaganda, no colonial treaty can put it out. Washington trembles. Brussels trembles. Paris trembles. Because they know the truth. Their power was always built on Africa's weakness. And now Africa is rising. The Renaissance Dam is more than electricity. It is political electricity. It powers movements. It powers revolutions. It powers Pan-African unity. The West is right to be afraid. Because their time is running out. Brothers and sisters, the time has come. Ethiopia has shown the way. Africa does not need the IMF. Africa does not need the EU. Africa does not need USAID. We only need ourselves. Our people. Our unity. Our courage. The Renaissance Dam is not the end. It is the beginning. The beginning of a continental revolution where every African nation builds its own destiny, free from foreign hands. So let us rise. Let us unite. Let us carry the flame of Ethiopia across the continent. Because the dam is not just Ethiopia's. The dam is Africa's. The future is not theirs. The future is ours. Africa shall rise, and the world shall tremble.